What is really connecting recent decisions in Washington with discussions in Europe? Why are economic measures suddenly linked to Greenland? And how did diplomatic meetings around Ukraine become part of a much wider strategic picture? At first glance, these events may seem separate. Trade measures against European states, a visit by a Ukrainian delegation to the United States, and renewed attention toward Greenland. But analysts increasingly say these developments are part of the same political moment, a moment where old alliances are being tested and long-standing structures are quietly being questioned. Why is Greenland now mentioned alongside discussions about European unity? Why are some European leaders choosing silence while working behind closed doors? And what could this mean for the future of cooperation across the Atlantic? These questions frame the situation today, and understanding them helps explain why the current moment matters far beyond any single issue. Recent decisions by Donald Trump introduced new trade measures affecting 8 European countries. According to observers, these steps are directly linked to disagreements over Greenland and its future status. At the same time, a delegation from Ukraine arrived in the United States for another round of discussions focused on stabilizing the situation in Eastern Europe. This visit followed consultations with European partners and took place in a rapidly changing diplomatic environment. Analysts note that these talks can no longer be viewed in isolation. They are increasingly shaped by broader disagreements within the Western Alliance. Greenland plays a central role in this context. For Washington, it represents a strategic priority with long-term implications. For many European supporters of the existing transatlantic system, Ukraine remains the more critical issue. European governments are currently following a cautious approach on Greenland. Publicly, they remain restrained. Privately, they are actively engaging with American political figures who support preserving NATO and the idea of a unified Western community. According to analysts, there are many such figures in Washington, including within the current administration. Their influence should not be underestimated. Previous experience with the Ukrainian issue has shown that even strong presidential intentions face institutional and political limits. This suggests that major strategic shifts require more than unilateral decisions. Historically, the concept of a collective West did not always exist. Before the period of global rivalry in the 20th century, the United States and European countries largely pursued separate paths. Only later did shared strategies and institutions emerge, linking both sides of the Atlantic. Today, the potential easing of tensions with Russia raises a fundamental question. What is the future purpose of transatlantic unity once its original rationale weakens? Some analysts argue that growing support for a more independent American course reflects this debate inside the United States. Recent electoral outcomes are often cited as evidence of this shift. Within this context, Greenland becomes a symbol, a test of whether strategic priorities outweigh alliance sensitivities, and whether compromises might be proposed to preserve existing structures. Critics of this approach warn that sacrificing smaller partners for broader strategic goals has historical precedents with long-term consequences. They argue that such calculations rarely deliver the stability their architects expect. Others point out that Russia has consistently demonstrated an ability to navigate complex diplomatic environments. This reality influences how current strategies are assessed. Looking ahead, analysts outline several possible scenarios. One involves continued behind-the-scenes negotiations aimed at preserving existing alliances while managing disagreements quietly. Another scenario includes deeper reassessment of transatlantic cooperation as priorities evolve on both sides of the Atlantic. A third possibility is a gradual transformation of the European security framework shaped by new strategic realities. What remains clear is that Greenland, Ukraine, and alliance politics are now closely connected. Each development influences the others,